What is up, YouTube? We are back with Sideline Chatter, episode 2. We have gotten a little bit behind. Things happen, life does things, but I am back here with Vic, as always, and we're going to get right into it. So, the Commanders, not going to lie, probably a good thing that we haven't had an episode in 2 weeks because I have not been a happy camper. Not happy at all, to say the least. Obviously, that was a great bounce back game against the Titans. The Titans' offense is not great. It's not good. But the defense, their defense is one of the better defenses in the NFL. And we absolutely dog walked them, like just in every way, shape, or form. On the ground, in the air, it didn't matter. Special teams was actually kind of a disaster for both teams, but more so for the Titans. So that was actually a pretty fun game to watch. Probably, I don't know if I would say it was the most fun game of the season. That Bengals game was pretty great, but just absolutely kind of knowing that you had it in the bag in the first quarter. Like, yeah, we've seen some chokes, but I didn't feel like that was a choke day, and it wasn't, obviously. So definitely some of the more fun I've had this season, but the past month of Commanders football has actually been pretty ugly. And it was almost feeling like, if things didn't turn around, pretty much went exactly when they did, that Commanders fans were going to be talking some draft here sooner rather than later. So it was a great bounce back game. A lot of statements, to say the least. Vic, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but Cliff Kingsbury had been taking a lot of heat over the past couple weeks, particularly involving Terry McLaurin and how he had used him. There was a lot of chatter, particularly among like Commanders fans and Commanders media, mainly saying that if you look at the alignments on the season, how like Cliff only keeps Terry lined up on the left side. And a lot of people talked about that, how it was like kind of weird, not very effective. Like, you're talking about potentially a top 10 wide receiver. You got to put him all over the field, let him loose. The very first pass of the game was to Terry McLaurin off the right side. And quite a few plays were ran. Just Terry all over the place, actually. He lined up in the slot, right, left. It didn't matter. So that was definitely a statement from Cliff. Kind of like I don't know, you call it whatever you want. You know, Flipping the bird to the haters, or, you know, maybe he just said, you know what? Maybe I do this. Maybe I do need to change it up, and I am going to change it up. And he did, and it was actually highly effective. So, whatever the case may be, it worked. And it worked very well. And Terry McLaurin was very happy. Jaden Daniels obviously had a great game as well. And it was definitely the kind of bounce back game that everyone needed, from the fan base to Jaden Daniels to the wide receivers, the defense, the O line. The O line was actually pretty great when they had been really awful the past couple weeks prior. So overall, it was exactly what the doctor ordered. Um, People felt like the Cowboys game felt like a must-win game, and we lost. This almost certainly was. You lose this game, you're on a 4-game skid. You're probably not looking too hot. We have our bye week finally, but then we still have some pretty decent opponents down the stretch, including the Eagles again, the Cowboys again, the Saints, the Falcons. Excuse me. So yeah, had you drop this game against Tennessee, people are really down. The team's probably down. You go into the bye week down, and then you come out of the bye week with a pretty decent schedule to shape, to wind down the season, and things could have skidded very fast. So there were some ups and downs in the game. It sounds like the Commanders are probably going to be without Austin Eckler for the rest of the season. He suffered a second concussion. And judging by his response to a media question, I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I don't know who asked the question. I can't remember at this point, but someone basically asked him something along the lines of, when do you think you'll return, or, possible by the end of the season, playoffs, whatever. And he basically said something along the lines of, this is my second concussion. It was pretty bad. I've never had consecutive in the season. I'm more prone to a third one, so we'll see, type of deal. So that might be quite unfortunate, but you know, overall, a lot of good to come out of that game. You know, like I said, for everyone involved, from the team to the coaches to the fan base. Um, I don't know if you did you happen to catch any part of that? Probably not. I think we played at the same time, right? Was that 1 p.m. game for you guys as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
With the Austin Eckler stuff, I think he'll be back if playoffs come around. Definitely when playoffs come around for you guys. He's not the type of player to just kind of sit back and like kind of like not be a part of like trying to make the team better. Like he was on when he was on the Chargers, whenever he was out there with Herbert and whatnot. Even though like when he would get hurt, he would always try to bounce back quicker, and he'd show out with the offense and be better in that aspect. So I do think he'll come back. He's probably just going to take his time with coming back and try to like kind of like relax his head a little bit
I'm
before.
so on it. He's not a spring chicken anymore, right? But he has a lot left in the tank, I think. So I'm 50. It's whatever he needs to do. You know, if it's best for him to not come back, we can maybe re-sign him next season, um, and run it back if that's what he feels is best for that situation. It's a big loss. But like I
Yeah,
said, whatever he feels he needs to do, I'm more than happy with. You know, I really like Jeremy McNichols. They brought back Chris Rodriguez. It was really weird. They actually cut him and then brought him back like 8 days
yeah,
later.
I seen
Yeah,
that.
and then he actually kind of went off, right? So
Yeah, I almost had like 100 yards that game because I know Robinson Jr. Popped off for a little over 100 and a touchdown.
yeah, B Rob was dominating, and it was nice to see Rodriguez get the opportunity. And he actually, as you said, I think I don't know. Did he finish with 86? Let me check real quick.
94.
Was it 94?
Yeah.
Cool. I did not have it up.
So I
So
know like with the Titans though, like Legarius needs. I think he's on IR, but probably gonna be just out for the year at this point. So that was already gonna be a huge loss in the backfield for them already. So that's just gonna. This was pretty much a you gotta win this game type of game because there's no reason for you guys to lose. They're down. I know the stat. I can't think of that word, but like this whole Will Levis thing, like he's just a character. The way he plays, his rookie season's kind of going flippy floppy, but they did win the past couple games before they played you guys. To be fair, and he did show like he was
he bought.
improving on
Yeah.
that offense.
To be fair, so I was shocked. The first quarter, the entire first quarter was possibly, and now again, I'm a diehard baby. I've been here since birth, so I have seen some horrendous football in my lifetime. But that first quarter of Titans football might have been some of the worst. Not, I'm not. It's the worst football I've ever seen in my life. They at the end of the first quarter, I'd have to check the numbers, but I know because I know I tweeted it out. They had more penalties, like yards from their penalties, than they had total offense, and they had a lot. But they only had like I don't want to say only because it's a lot for one quarter. It was like 57 or so yards of penalties. So they had less than 60 yards of total offense at the end of the first quarter, and we had already scored 28 points. They fumbled a kick return off of one of our scores. So it's not on the defense as much. People are going to look at that score and go, ooh. But like I said, they fumbled after we scored. So, I mean, you're already putting your defense at the 30-yard line. And then they also turned the ball over at like the 30-yard line. I think we popped a fumble out, and we scored 2 touchdowns off both of those. So not very fair on the defense. Again, when you're pretty much giving the offense the ball in scoring territory, you're already in field goal territory. Um, it's hard on a defense. So the point total a little unfair for them, but they didn't necessarily pick it up. But I will say Will Levis actually impressed me. I've seen quite a bit of, tape, just social media tape. Um And I've liked what I've seen, but overall, I was like, we'll see what the guy does. But he actually made some really impressive plays against us. Now, to be fair, our secondary is really bad. We still do not have Marshawn Lattimore, although it sounds like his debut
Like
will
this week,
come.
right?
Yeah, it sounds like. Well, we have a bye week, so but do you know who we
Yeah, so do
play?
we.
Do you know who we play after the bye week? The
Play.
the Saints. Um, so I definitely think he's going to make his debut against his former team, the only team he's ever played for. But that doesn't matter because we're talking about the Titans, right? So our secondary is bad. So you can take that, how you want it. But he made some really impressive plays, not just in the pocket. He made some really impressive plays in the pocket, but he extended some plays and made some throws. Man, that guy can play football, and he can play it very well. But there's also a lot of ugly in his game. He's definitely still a work in progress, and I just hope because I kind of like the Titans. I've never had beef with them. I hope that they have some patience because I do think that not everybody is right out the gates money. Some guys take some time, and I think he might be worth the time.
Well, another part that sucks with the Titans though is like they're going through a rebuild year. They just got rid of
They made a lot of odd. I mean, the
Matt.
AJ
They
Brown
got rid of Matt Favorite.
started it. Started with the AJ Brown a couple years ago. That was a head scratcher, and I feel like in terms of like roster moves, it's kind of gone downhill for them from there. Um,
And Derrick Henry.
Henry, I get to an extent. I wouldn't have done it, but 30 years old, right? That's kind of that. I look at it similar to the Saquon Barkley situation, where I actually don't think the Giants did the wrong thing. Um, it's questionable, but when you look at, like you said, they were kind of entering a rebuild era. Well, same thing with the Giants, right? They were kind of starting the rebuild process. I don't think they believed in Daniel Jones, and I think that's evident now. So, for both teams' sake, if you're starting the rebuild process, do you really pay a 30 or close to 30 running back a good chunk? Like Saquon Barkley was only like a $4 million difference or something crazy, so that one's kind of iffy. But
I
again,
think Saquon was already 1 foot out the door as it was already with
I
how
don't.
the situation there was.
Yeah, I think they just bungled the contract situation, but more so did they was it a good idea for them to re-sign him? I'm leaning towards I think it was I don't like how they handled it. They could have handled it better. But I don't necessarily disagree with them letting Saquon go just because of where they were headed, where they're at, and what by the time what are they going to pay him 3 or 4 year deal, and then he's going to be over 30. Are they going to be ready to go in 2 years? You're wasting his prime, what's left of it, and you're kind of just wasting your money. And so, I mean, we're talking about the Titans, but same thing with the Henry situation where he was 30, hitting, he was at 30. And it was one of those things where it's like, okay, we're rebuilding, we're not competing. Do we really want to waste what's left of him? And do we really want to waste that money to maybe, I mean, realistically, how many games do you think Saquon Barkley adds to the Giants this year? How many games do you think Derrick Henry's questionable because he's a different,
Yeah, he's a different
he's
breed.
built different. He's built different, yeah.
But Saquon's
Um,
beating him in the rush yards this year.
But like some of
Wait,
the
those two.
only running backs, like just off the top of my head, there's only two running backs I can think of. I mean, maybe Derrick Henry is the third, but again, how much winning did Tennessee really do recently? And they had AJ Brown at the same time. But anyways, the only two running backs I can think of that like genuinely more recently, and this isn't recent, that you could say, yeah, that guy won that team games, LaDainian Tomlinson and Adrian Peterson. You could look at those two guys at the end of the day and say they won that game for them. I'm not saying Derrick Henry doesn't do that. Don't get me wrong, but again,
Josh Jacobs too recently.
yeah, I actually
Raiders to the Packers.
I like Josh Jacobs a lot, but yeah, that's my point. Not to undervalue or underappreciate the running back position, because a good running back changes a team for sure. But again, when you're talking about all right, it's time to rebuild. Even if you're talking to Derrick Henry or Saquon, is it really worth it to waste the last couple years they have left to maybe win 3 more games, which, I mean, what would that mean for the Giants right now? You know what I mean? What would that mean for the Titans? I don't know what their division looks like, but I know that maybe 2 or 3 more wins isn't helping them right now. So,
But outside of that first quarter, though, it was pretty much from the second to the fourth. Like for you guys, it was pretty much a 19-21 game.
yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little worried. I got a little worried there. Uh, it
Nick
was just,
Westbrook Akine's, it's not another week where he's had like multiple touchdowns. He's been having a decent rookie year too.
more than
Will Levis,
decent. Sleeper, more than decent, in my opinion.
Will Levis, he threw for 212, no interceptions, obviously 2 touchdowns, 18 for 37. I mean, it doesn't compare to Jay Daniels 25 for 30, 206 and 3 touchdowns, but different situations, obviously.
So I got a little worried there for a minute because it started to turn into a game. And I'm like, look, I don't think we're gonna choke it away, but as a Commanders fan, there's not very I might be able to count on one hand in the past 20 years how many total games that I can watch and say, yeah, we won. Like there's no we're kicking this team's ass, pardon the language. Um, but we won this game. I don't need to see the clock hit 0-0 to know the Commanders got the dub. So that feeling started to bubble up like, man, we're not scoring now. We're kind of in a funk and they're kind of not, and the game's getting a little close, but we did pick it back up, and ultimately it was over before the clock hit 0-0. So I did get to fully enjoy the game. There was that little stretch there in the second half that I was like, no, like don't do this to me, but they didn't. Um, but I also think it highlights some of what I've talked about. I've talked about it a lot on Twitter. I'm not shy at all, and I don't delete tweets. Um, there's still, in my opinion, the Commanders are still kind of in the pretender category because that's just what I'm talking about. With how, sorry, my dog's medicine alarm. Um, with how dominant they were in that game, it really that feeling never should have bubbled up. That should have just been a full throttle, just pedal to the metal, just no questions asked. And if they got out, out to an early jump on like a very good team and that happened, okay, cool. The Titans aren't that good. If their defense strapped up and we just didn't score any more points, okay, their defense is technically that good, but their offense, mixed bag. And there was just, like I said, like you said, like I agree, there was just that stretch there where it was looking sketchy. And I just feel like that shouldn't happen. Like
They didn't score any points in the third quarter.
none. It was bad. It was
And then
that's why I said that was the oh
okay, like
no, don't do this to
28-13. So
me.
it's like, well, now we're not winning by, plus 20. We're only beating them by like 15, which any team can come back from 15. Anything can happen in the NFL nowadays.
I mean, that's just one bomb and you got yourself a one score game potentially. So it definitely, like I said, highlights the pretender tag, unfortunately. I mean, I'm happy with the season. Um, I think just after such a hot start record wise, but again, I don't get jaded. Like, don't get me wrong, I jumped in on the fun. I had my fun. I talked my talk, but I usually don't lose sight of the bigger picture. And it's hard because when you get on social media and you try to be real, especially when your team's streaking and they're hot, you're the negative Nancy. You're the Debbie Downer. No one wants to hear that right now. We're 5-1. Nobody wants to hear that. But the cold truth was, look, we've we might be looking really good right now, but we've typically not looked that great while doing it. And we've only ever really looked dominant on certain ends of the field when we've played bad units. When we've played some of the better teams, it hasn't been so. Like don't get me wrong, the Bengals game was phenomenal, but it was down to the wire. And the Bengals are so. But again, it's Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. They have that's a potent offense regardless. But
The
again,
defense has regressed a ton this year.
played the Ravens, took a pretty solid L. Like at no point in that game did I think this game's we can win this. Unfortunately, um, and then it just kind of spiraled from there. The Steelers game, so it's like okay, they can't beat the good teams, and they typically don't look that great playing them either. So we'll see. Like I said, it's a tough end of the stretch for them. Um, it's not the hardest by any means, but they have some decent teams on the agenda. So they have the
Say
bye week to recalibrate.
right now it has you guys in the wild card 7th seed against the
The
Eagles.
Eagles, yep, yep.
So if that were to come back up, and you guys at least have like a little bit of a hot streak, you guys have more of a chance of
So
making up that mistake. But I think you guys play them again in a couple weeks, though, right?
that's not gonna hold. Yeah, we do. That's not gonna hold. I don't think. Um, maybe it does. We'll see. But I wouldn't be afraid of it. I'll put it that way. Um, we talked about it 2 weeks ago on the episode where I was like, you know what? If we had Lattimore, maybe I can feel a little bit better about this game. And I think I said something along the lines of now maybe for the next game, game two, ask me then. So ask me then. But again, sounding like we get Lattimore back for the Saints game, which means definitely have him for the Philly game. We didn't look terrible in that game. I don't believe in the Eagles. Kind of like I don't believe in the Steelers as much, although they've changed my mind a little bit recently. Eagles have not. I don't believe in the Eagles, and it's not because I'm hating on a division rival. I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I
I
don't
haven't
think
seen a
he's
lot of Jalen
bad.
this year.
I don't think he's bad, but there are just certain quarterbacks in this league that you know there comes a time when you have to straight up outduel the guy on the other team. And typically, you're going to have to do it passing the football. And not that I think Jalen Hurts is a bad passer. I don't see him outdueling some of the top. I don't see him outdueling a Joe Burrow head to head through the air. I don't see him outdueling Jaden Daniels when Jaden Daniels is rolling. So that's what I mean. I look at Jaden Daniels, and it's not just a bias, but he had some ugly, ugly football, and there's still some conspiracy on if the ribs were bothering him and for how long. But when he's hot, he went toe to toe with Joe Burrow. It was just a regular season game. It's not a playoff game. It's not Super Bowl, so I'm not going to act like it was. But he went toe to toe through the air and won. So that's what I mean. There's just certain quarterbacks in this league that I'm like, I don't know if that guy can out outduel and that's what you got to do when you get to the playoffs, right? The only problem with the Eagles is I do believe in Saquon Barkley. I do believe in AJ Brown, and I do believe in Devontae Smith. I believe in them a lot. So yeah, Dallas, he's that dude. He's that dude. I would absolutely love to have him on my team. No shade to like Zach Ertz. There's this nickname. I don't know if you've heard it. I don't like it, but they call him No Yak Zach.
No, yeah, Zach.
Yeah, no yards after the catch, man. He catches the ball and falls down. It's
And he won a Super Bowl doing that, though.
all right, but like he still got yak back in them days. Like nowadays he's not like people act like, oh, he's like an old man, he's a shell of himself. Like nah, he's still out there running and making plays. But yeah, he's not a threat, and for some reason he's still our number one. Not that he shouldn't be, but that just tells you, I would love to have a guy like Dallas Goddard. So yeah, that's why the Eagles are what 10-2 right now. It's because Saquon Barkley is indeed that dude, but when he's on a team with Jalen Hurts, who can also be elite on the ground, and then you also got two elite wide receivers, I'd go out and say Devontae Smith is elite, or at least he could put Devontae Smith as the number one on a team. What do you think you got? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He has that potential. So the Eagles are just freaking stacked, dude.
It also
Um,
helps that Justin Tucker missed like 3, 4 field goals
yeah,
in
I
a
don't know
single
what's going.
game,
I
which
don't know
is
what's
a
going on
big
with him.
anomaly.
That's like 2 weeks in a row, though. Sorry, I just like actually knocked my desk. It's like 2 weeks in a row, though, isn't it?
It's been all season. He's been missing field goals. It's
He-
been a horrible season. I actually had him in fantasy because I have his jersey, and
Nice. That sucks.
well, not nice now.
No, that's what I
It's
said. That
jersey.
sucks.
It's getting bad, but nah, he's been missing kicks all year. It's been horrible. In that game specifically, he was missing left, which when you're right-footed, you're gonna miss left. So then the next one of the next field goals, he missed right. Now at that point, it's like, what are you doing wrong?
He's got the yips. It's a
Because
thing
like
with
his
kickers,
kicks,
man. There's something with kickers where there's like something up here, man. It's like they miss one and something breaks.
it's literally just like all fundamentals. Like unless it's not the holder, then it's just all like the fundamentals just kind of go out the window.
I think it's very similar to when an NBA player changes his jump shot and then winds up with a hitch in his shot. You know what I mean? Something where it's just like, all right, you had a down season, bro. Like it happens. Like
Or like a golfer who's like trying to change his
MJ had a
swing.
bad season. Tom Brady had bad season. I don't know about a whole season, but you get the point. It happens. You don't need to go making drastic changes. And it's like you missed a kick, bro. You're fine. But like I said, some kickers they just miss one. That's all it takes, and then something just breaks up top, and the next thing you know, because I've seen it a
Speaking of
lot. I've seen it a lot in Washington. I saw it with Dustin Hopkins, who is thriving elsewhere now, so they can absolutely get it back. The thing with Justin though is he getting a little old. But like Vinatieri was still booting at what, like 35, 36? He might even went low. He might
I
have went to
think
like 38.
I think in his 40s he was still booting
Did
it.
he really? He went to 40? Golly.
I think he was in his 40s.
By the way, I hate Tress Way because I watch a lot of the Commanders like pod and stuff, and he says golly a lot, and it entered my vocabulary like a year ago, and it hasn't left since. So it makes me sound
Speaking of
like a
speaking
a
of
50-year-old
kickers
man.
missing, speaking of kickers missing, you know about Joey Sly, former Commanders kicker.
Ah, what happened with
Now
Joey?
he's a Patriots kicker.
Is he?
Yeah,
He
he's
be
been kicking for us all year.
he be missing?
He missing. He
All right.
missed a game winner this weekend
Would he
with a
miss? Would he miss?
68 yarder.
Oh, well, that doesn't count.
He got it. He got
That
it
doesn't count.
67 yards.
So he has the leg,
But he
and
did miss
what's
like a 30 something yard field goal though.
that's
Like
the thing.
it
Have him
shanked left, and he instantly knew he missed it.
make Joey Sly consistently kick. Only have him kick from 50. He'll make all of them. You make
That's the
him
crazy
kick from
part.
you make him kick from 30 and he misses. I love the guy. I actually almost wish we didn't get rid of him just because it hasn't been that much better for us this season. I mean, Seibert was on a roll there for a while and then supposedly came back too soon from an injury and then had that absolutely disaster class. And now we're missing kicks again. So yeah, I would have kept Sly. But that was always the thing with Sly. I was like, dude, just look. Bring in somebody who is money from 30 and under but can't kick 40 and up and just rotate him. Sly 45 and up. He'll hit the 45s. 45 and up. And that motherfucker will hit. Oh, damn. I shouldn't have said that. He'll hit from 60. Um,
He
but
was
I,
he was he was about to hit
so
the he was about to hit the 68.
his leg is
It was dead
crazy.
center. It
I
was
don't
dead center too.
I don't think when we had Sly, unless we wanted a team to, I don't think a single team ever had a chance to return a kick. His leg is that dude's got a double cannon strapped to his thigh.
It's just
I miss him.
the duality of having a cannon though is like the accuracy where it's like, is he actually gonna make it most of the time, or is this gonna be one of those off weeks where he just can't
He's like
hit
he's the Anthony
center of a
Richardson.
target?
He's the Anthony Richardson of kickers.
Speaking of him though, the Patriots game.
I know we talked a lot of Commanders, so that's why I was like, you know what? Perfect segue. Boom.
Yeah,
Colts Patriots heartbreaker.
I just want to point this out.
Double entendre heartbreaker.
Anthony Richardson, 12 passes, 109 yards, 2 TDs, 2 INTs versus Drake Maye's 24 for 30, 238, 1 TD, 1 INT.
So I'm gonna need you to walk me through this one because as we just talked about, our games were at the same time, so I didn't catch it. You went to OT, yeah?
Yep. Oh no. It was
No.
That it's supposed to be a game winner because
What
the
what
I
game
think
went to
Richardson's
OT? Sorry.
no Richardson scored within like the last 30 seconds. We start driving up the field. Drake Maye's playing smart football, passing the ball over to the sideline. We're getting out of bounds, and we're 68 yards away, and we give Joyce Light that chance. And I don't know if it was the wind that caught it a little bit, or if he just didn't have enough oomph on it from like just the entire day. But it was literally like 1 yard short from making then the field goal and getting that record, beating Justin Tucker's record. But
What is the record? 62?
7,
Oh, it's 67. Dang.
like it's like 66. It's 66 or 67, one of the two.
I thought it was 62.
But it's still like very very
Casual.
very far. And Drake May, he looked good all game, but our leading receivers are both our tight ends. Hunter Henry went 7 for 75, Austin Hooper 4 for 42 and a touchdown, which isn't good. Like we don't have any receivers, and it's very apparent. We have Kayshawn Booty. He's
I
a
love it.
rookie, but
Booty.
he's like I think he's good. It's just rookie stuff. It's just hard to get him where he needs to go
I think we talked about it
most of the time.
on the first episode where it's like you guys have a lot of guys that you know, they'd be great 2 and 3s. They
Yeah.
had a true number one to really let them shine in their role a little bit more.
Yeah, and they're jumped in the gun at like being a receiver ones, which I mean technically Hunter Henry's our receiver one, but you can only use a tight end for so much until we actually have to use the receivers.
Yeah. I mean, you
Um, but
can't
as
just
much of
throw
a
to tight
heartbreak,
ends all day.
but as much of a heartbreak as it was, losing's not bad because that just means we get a better draft pick. And Drake May still looks good. 24 for 30, like he just did one shy of Jaden Daniels, but he threw more yards.
So that's like the sweet spot in my opinion where look, we're not rooting to lose in these situations. We're just acknowledging. Now the Commanders are fortunately for me not in this boat this year, but we typically are. But for the Patriots' sake, Vic's not rooting for them to lose, but you have to understand that at a certain point in time, the season is over, and it is best for your team's future to lose. That's the difference. So this is the sweet spot for that situation where you lost. So it's like, we lost, but draft pick going up, but the quarterback looked great. The young rookie looks good. So it's a confidence booster for him. It's good tape for him. And it does kind of what people I think fail to realize that like yes, the Patriots are 3-10, but
We are not 3-10. Oh wait, we are 3-10. I thought we
haha,
only won 3 games. I thought we had two.
I know a little something. Um, but guys, pay attention. These guys watch film. These guys watch the games. They put on the tape. They're aware. So when you got guys that are free agents, it doesn't even have to be wide receivers. When guys know that a team has their guy solidified at that position, they'll go, I'll play there. So it's huge. It's huge. You guys have a plethora of cap space coming up. You're looking like you're going to get a pretty solid top 5 level pick. That's big. So ultimately, what's the issue here? Why are you 3-10? What's going on? Obviously, we know that the lack of
We
offensive
have.
weapons for Drake May is an issue, but
I mean, that's pretty much it. Like at the start of the year when we had Brissett, he was just getting sacked a lot. But that's kind of just how having Brissett usually was, and it's how it was in like other stints that he was at too. So I don't think offensive line's too much of an issue because Drake May's not really getting sacked heavily. He's not having to feel under pressure, have to run out of the pocket. Um, it's just more. It's literally just receivers and some defensive pieces that we could use in the backfield to help Christian Gonzalez and whatnot. Because you got to think we've been trying to rebuild since Brady and the McCourty twins left. Um, our whole offensive line with Mac Jones wasn't any good. So it's just been kind of like just trying to pick up the pieces one by one each year, especially after having a dynasty for God knows how long, like what 15, 20 plus years.
That was tragic.
So now we're going to go into the offseason with the, I think I said this last episode, but the most cap space in the entire league. So we're going to be able to get like T Higgins, who's on the radar to become a Patriot for next year. We can get whoever the highest draft pick is for the Patriots for 2025 coming out of college. So it's not just like it's one place that we're messing up at, because Christian Gonzalez, he's having a down year, but that's more or less because of the coaching, because it's all new coaching staff. Also, trying to get Gerard Mayo to understand like how to read these defenses, as well as like scheme the players, put them in at the right places, and call the right plays. So it's just gonna be a timetable before like we can actually see like we have one definitive problem outside of the receiving core.
Yeah.
But I am excited for the draft though, because we get a top 5 draft pick, we get a receiver.
So that's kind of what that was kind of what a little bit what I was getting at. So what
Right now,
that's what you want? You want a receiver?
110%. If we, so right now, Jacksonville is the only threat I personally see getting a receiver, because they don't need quarterback or anyone else. Realistically, they have Trevor Lawrence, who's just been placed on IR for the rest of the year, so he's done after getting that nasty concussion.
So real quick, as we're looking at this, so week 13, post week 13, our current NFL draft order, excuse me. We have the Jaguars at 1, and then we have Raiders, Giants, Patriots at 4, Panthers, Jets, Titans, Browns, Bengals, Saints, Bears, Dolphins, Cowboys, 49ers, Colts at 15, Buccaneers, Rams, Cardinals, Falcons, Seahawks at 20, Commanders, Texans, Broncos, Ravens, Chargers at 25, Steelers, Packers, Vikings, Eagles, Bills at 30, Chiefs, and the Detroit Lions. So, as we said for you guys, definitely looking like top 5 pick category. And I'm looking at a mock draft here. Not necessarily that I agree with it. But we have the Jaguars taking Travis Hunter first. He is listed first as wide receiver, then corner, and then quarterback, and then they do have the Patriots taking McMillan out of Arizona at wide receiver. Is that who you want? What about Travis Hunter if the Jags don't bite first overall?
Obviously, if we could get Travis Hunter, that'd be pretty amazing. I know Gerard Mayo probably wouldn't play him at both cornerback and receiver, though.
I think we touched a little bit on this in the first
Yeah,
episode, and I agree where I absolutely think a team's going to make him pick a position just for the injury factor alone.
but if we could get Travis Hunter, though, he'd be a great addition to Drake May, because the passes Drake May's even just make, the fact that Drake May's even getting at least like 230, 250 a game with what we got is just a miracle on its own. And
Yeah, it's
with the
impressive. He's
talent,
doing impressive things.
with a talent like Travis Hunter or Tita Rora Millen from Arizona, it would just be a huge upgrade if we can just get one of those two. Like if we don't get Hunter, I'm not going to be too upset knowing that we have another one on top of the Raiders and the Giants needing quarterbacks very badly.
Yeah, so it does. It has the Giants taking Shador and the Raiders taking Cam Ward. That's what my mock from PFF has. Don't necessarily agree with
Mine's
this mock draft, but that's what we
yeah,
have.
mine has them as the opposite, but I think Shador personally wants to go play for the Raiders.
Honestly, absolutely
That's how
could
I
see
see
that.
him.
Las Vegas could absolutely see that. Could absolutely see him want to be there. That screams him all the way. I love the kid. I love him. I
I mean, it's his person. It matches his personality too. That like prime time, biggest lights.
To me, there is a difference between cocky or full of yourself and just confident. He's just confident. I'm that dude. I'm going to show you that I'm that dude. I can be that dude. If you can walk the walk, talk it. Talk the talk. I love it. I love a dog. I love the guy. I know a lot of people don't, but I freaking love the kid. He is his
And
dad's son. Because I love
but
Dion.
it also helps that our string of schedule is like one of like the easier ones. So the more we lose,
That hurts. If you have an easy
yeah,
schedule, right,
but we're
you're more likely to win.
yeah, but if we lose and then our records match, then we'll get the lower pick because we're losing when we should be having an
Big brain play. The only problem
easier
is
time.
that like who do y'all have? Throw it at me.
You mean?
Like who's left on your schedule?
Oh, who's left? Well, we have a bye this week, and then we have the Cardinals, Bills, Chargers, Bills.
Cardinals, Bills, Chargers, Bills. You said your schedule is easy. Um,
It's supposed to be.
you guys can beat the Cardinals. I like Kyler Murray. I like the Cardinals, but I don't believe in
Cardinals are
them.
going. They're
Um,
going. They've been doing pretty good right now. They're
they
only
have,
one.
but I think right now Drake Maye is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. Playing as a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. Um, I said it earlier when we talked a little bit about Jalen Hurts. There comes a time when you just have to beat the other guy on the other side of the field. Drake Maye is one of those guys. I think at some point he's going to be one of those guys you got to beat. And yeah, I think he can beat some guys today. So I'll take. Currently, I think you guys can win that game. I think Drake Maye can outduel Kyler Murray. I think you're losing
The
both of the games to the Bills. That's not happening. And then who was that other team? I'm sorry.
Chargers.
Justin Herbert. I don't believe in the Chargers either. That can go either way.
Um,
But that's
I
two
truly.
and two. That's still probably keeping you top five.
That's more optimistic now. How I have it. I don't know. I don't think we're winning any of the rest of these games. The best one obviously would be the Cardinals, but
I mean, that's best case scenario, right? You lose them all draft wise. Best case scenario draft
yeah,
wise for
yeah,
anyone
yeah,
has a
yeah.
fit.
It's just tough because I mean it's already December. The season was over pretty much by November.
Trust me,
We're
I've
not
been there. I've been there.
if we're not even like kidding ourselves. Like it's just
Our
kind of like
season's
wish
usually
they stayed in the
over in
season.
like October. By Halloween, Commanders are usually done. So I feel it. I know what you mean.
So now it's like let's try to end the season on like somewhat of a strong note, statistic wise. Maybe not. I just don't think we'll win out. I don't even think we'll win like one of them.
I'm gonna be honest. I think you're going 2-2. Although, as we said, 1-3, 0-4 is best case scenario for the draft pick. Like I said, I just don't believe in the Cardinals or the Chargers.
It's just like we're just a bad team, and Kyler Murray's been playing good against bad teams this year.
That's true, except the
Given
Commanders.
given the fact, yeah, yeah. And then Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh have been lighting it up.
I
And
actually
then
really like that duo.
Lad McCon- Lad McConkey's going crazy.
I think give the Chargers like 2 more years and watch out. I mean, it depends on they got to hit their draft picks, right? But guys are going to want to play with Harbaugh and Herbert for sure. I don't think they're going to have an issue bringing in free agents or making moves in that. They're going to get the guys they want. They just got to hit the draft picks, right? That's usually what it always is, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, best worst case scenario, we get a top 5 draft pick. We just look forward to next year, and we play the free agency market, start paying some people, and going that route.
See, the problem is that just looking at this, like unfortunately for the Patriots, I think best case scenario is 4. I think where you guys are at, I don't think you're better. I mean, better. I don't think you're worse than the Raiders because they're rolling out Aiden O'Connell, right? Am I tripping?
I think he got hurt.
Did he? Okay, well that's even worse. That's even worse. You're definitely not worse than the Giants. And the Jaguars just lost Lawrence. The Jaguars already weren't good because they're number one, and they just lost Trevor Lawrence, who was I'll save that for a different episode. You know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. I don't hate the guy, but he's clearly not generational or whatever he was supposed to be. But he was definitely keeping them at least competitive. And now they have Mac Jones.
Never mind. Aiden O'Connell is playing.
Okay,
He is the starter quarterback.
that's what I
He's
thought.
actually from Illinois, which is actually funny.
So again, Drake Maye is not just better than those guys. You could combine the three of those quarterbacks together, and Drake Maye's still a better quarterback. So
Yeah, it's just
the
it's
good
just a
news is
situation.
Bryce Young decided that he's back in college recently, and the Panthers are fifth and the Titans are sixth. I can't believe the Jets are only seventh because they're terrible. I
I
think you
think it's
got
because of their
point
strength
being.
schedule.
I think they do have a tough one. I think you guys are locked into that fourth. To be honest with you, I think you guys are going to stay right where you are. The Raiders and the Giants might flip flop. I don't know who they play, but they both stink. I think the Jags pretty much locked in their number one pick. I mean, obviously that's why they put Trevor Lawrence on IR. I mean, it's a concussion. I'm not saying don't. I'm actually. I don't think that I'm not gonna say it's how everyone should handle it, but you look at like the Tua situation and like honestly, maybe they should start treating it like super COVID, but for the brain. Like you catch a concussion and you're out. You got to quarantine for like 2 to 4 weeks, buddy. Like it's honestly
Well,
not a bad idea for health reasons because people think it's like, oh, you're soft. The NFL's soft nowadays, dude. Getting your brain rung like that is just. I mean, I shouldn't have to say it, but it's not freaking good for
oh no, it
anybody.
sucks.
Um, but obviously, if they weren't terrible, if they were fighting for anything at all, he'd probably be back next week. But they know their season's cooked. That's a full blown and a good excuse to say, hey, he's done for the season. So yeah, I think they just pretty much locked in their number one pick. I think that's how they
Well,
viewed it.
the fun part is the Raiders actually play the Jaguars in a couple
Do they?
right before Christmas.
That's like teams are fighting for like that last playoff spot in December. These guys are going to be duking it out for number one. I love it. A good old fashioned stink off.
Tank the
That
ball.
that's like everybody. Like both teams are just sitting every starter. Nobody's playing. It's the practice squad. The backups aren't playing. No. This is actually potentially. So I'm over here all smiles and giggles because for the first time in forever I'm not a part of it. But this is actually one heck of a race here. This like these are all genuinely terrible teams here. Like it's anybody's game. Jags,
It's
Giants,
really bad.
Raiders, Patriots, Panthers, Titans, Jets, Browns. It doesn't get shady until 9 with the Saints because I don't think the Saints are that bad. They're not good. But they're not as bad as, and the Browns actually aren't that bad, especially with Jameis Winston now. So really, but these top 7 teams have been truly awful this season. So like, this is a race, dude. It's a freaking race.
Jameis Winston just threw for 500, four
I know.
touchdowns,
Did you see his post
three
game interview?
interceptions.
Please tell me you saw the post game interview.
Yeah, he's like, I pray that God delivers me from
Delivers me from
pick
pick
sixes.
sixes. I love Jameis
That
Winston.
is, yeah. So I meant to tell you, I was like, yeah, I take back my Mike McCarthy or my Mike McDaniel
I
stance.
know.
Yeah,
I
because
told
this
you, bro.
this man is just clowning way too hard.
It's undefeated. Every time Jameis Winston opens his mouth, something funny's coming out of it.
Well, he's playing. I don't want to say phenomenal, but like he's balling. The
I've
offense. It's the second year in a row that Deshaun Watson gets hurt. He's out for the year. Backup quarterback is just lighting the offense up.
right 48
Last year was
minutes.
Joe Flacco. Came off the couch, was just balling. This year it's Jameis Winston. He was a backup, and now he's just balling.
So look, I'll go on record saying it because I didn't make content back in these days. I don't remember which season it was because up until Jaden Daniels, every off season was quarterback shopping for the Commanders. But there was a point in time where Jameis Winston was an actual option. Like, I'm not saying the team was interested in him, but we needed a quarterback. We were looking at like a starting level quarterback, and he was available. I think it was before. I think it was when he chose the Saints. I think it was the first time he upped with the Saints as a backup and officially like said I'm taking that backup role. So whatever season that was, 20.
That was like last year.
No way, right? No
He
way.
was a Saint. He was a Saint last year.
Yeah, but he was there for a couple of years. Hold on, because now I want to know.
I don't think he was benched for that long.
Nah, he was like the back. He was there for a couple of seasons. I thought. Am I tripping? Yeah, he was in there. He was there for 4 years, brother. So this was 2020. I think so. It was the 2020.
Because that's when they got Tom Brady.
Yeah, 2019. Yes, yes, it was that season. That's when he and I
After
that
he was threw for 5K, 30 for
and
30.
that was our Taylor Heineke season. So we had like nothing. We picked him up off the streets. But anyways, the point I was getting at was I actually really wanted Jameis Winston because 4 years ago I said, look, this dude's a starting level quarterback. Like, yeah, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions is not good, but
5,000 yards.
what did we have to lose at that point? And the answer was nothing. So all these years, I've been sitting there like, if somebody starts Jameis Winston, like, they're not going to regret it necessarily. I've been believing that he's a starting level quarterback. I mean, the interceptions though are the issue. He is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You think so?
He better.
I don't think
Better.
Fitzpatrick's doing what he's doing.
Do you not remember like some of his games though? Like some of his like 400 4 games? Like Fitz went off for some reason. Like Fitzpatrick was either prime Tom Brady or prime Ryan Leaf. There was no in between.
That's fair. I remember his like first 3 games with the Bucks. He was just kind of going crazy.
It was like the
And
first. Nah, it was like the first like 4 to 6 weeks he went off. That was when he did like the no shirt or open shirt with the chains and the glasses. Yeah, that was funny. That was funny.
yeah,
Um,
but
but yeah, I mean, all of those teams above the Browns, starting with the Titans, 7 and up. I mean, that's a race. And then I got to scroll all the way down to 21. Excuse me, for the Commanders. So NFL or CBS Sports has Commanders projected needs. I don't know why I said projected needs. I've read two different things. Team needs as edge, I don't agree. Cornerback, 100%. Wide receiver, 100%. Offensive tackle, I don't agree. Interior O-line, I kind of agree. Linebacker, okay. And safety, yes. Commanders don't necessarily need an offensive tackle. We have a rookie left tackle, and he's actually been pretty solid, more than solid at times. And then we have Wiley out there on the right, although he got injured, a little banged up, playing, but did miss a game. But
how many
anywho,
draft picks do you guys have this year? Like just 3, right?
I think no, I think we had like 9. I think we're down to 7 after the
Oh
Lattimore
yeah, yeah,
trade.
yeah.
I think we have 7 after the Lattimore trade. Um, Wiley's a free agent, so that's why or at least his contract's ending. I'm going to assume that's why they have that on here for us. He is a mixed bag in pass protection. He can be really great, and he can also be the worst lineman on the field. But he is an absolute baller and run in the run game. I think they're going to re-sign him, and if they do, like I said, we have a rookie out there on the left, and he's absolutely the future for now. I keep saying he because I cannot believe his name just keeps slipping my mind right now because it's not Cornelius Lucas. It's just not popping into my head for some reason. Um, but if they re-up Wiley, we're good at tackle. Edge, I'm not like Dante Fowler's had a breakout season. Like we're getting the job done there. We're getting the job done. I'm not pressed to. I wouldn't put it. I'm not all right. I'm not gonna say we don't need an edge, but I'm not putting it above corner or wide receiver. So I'm thinking for the Commanders, it's got to be a cornerback. It's got to be. I mean,
So in my mock draft that I'm looking at, your first 3 picks are in this order for 21, 56, 77 are Amika from Ohio State receiver, 56 Kyle Kennard edge South Carolina, and Darian Porter cornerback from Iowa State. All are really good.
so yeah, I have an
Darian
issue
Porter
with that
is
though.
really good too.
Like I said, tackle or edge is not that big of a need for us right now.
South, South Carolina has a lot of good edges on their team, from
I
what I've seen from like the college games and whatnot. I don't know how versed you are with the college
I
football like that.
I need I usually I don't watch college football like that, but when we're kicking into draft season, I do usually start combing through the big boards and then start pulling tape. But I'm nowhere near there yet for me. So
But
I'm
Kyle
not.
Kennard would be he would be a definite upgrade for your team for edge. I know he's like
Look,
not
I'm not
like
gonna
not
say I don't want an
universal,
upgrade
but
there, but it's one of those things to where I said, look, you got to take. I'm not gonna say you have to, but I do believe in BPA. So if he's a stud, and there's no other studs really that obviously if there's a stud QB, we're not taking that guy, right? Then we got to take him. But like I said, I'm not pressed on edge. The wide receiver first round, I'm happy with because outside of Terry, it's ugly. And I don't know if people realize this, but Terry McLaurin is about to be 30 years old. He came into the league at like 24. He was an older rookie. Um, so that actually has to happen, debatably. And sorry, I thought I heard something. And I am certainly happy with that. Now, again, I don't know if I'm taking an edge with my second pick. It depends on the corners on the board. If, like I said, that's really what we need. Things could maybe change when Lattimore gets on the field because Mikey Sanders has been an absolute stud for us. So, I mean, you get Lattimore on the field and you potentially have two corners. And, I mean, you still need someone opposite of Lattimore, or if Mikey stays outside, you need someone in the slot. Maybe that's a less pressing need, and I'd be a little more okay with an edge in the second. But like I said, this team just had some needs. Tight end is a little more pressing in my opinion. Like I said, I'm full wide receiver first round. Let's do it. Second pick though, I mean, tight ends in the area, safety is a big issue. Jeremy Chin has been great, but we do need, we need a deep cover guy.
how's Jason Newton playing for you guys?
He has been a very mixed bag at times.
He has like 30 tackles, 1 sack.
So overall, the dude is looking like he's going to be a baller. I don't know if he's going to be elite. I don't know if he's going to be all pro, but I definitely think he's going to be above average starter. He just has a couple rookie mistakes. He actually debatably cost us the game with jumping off, the jumping off sides at the end of the game. Was that 2 weeks ago? And then he did it again. It wasn't like game losing, tragic, game changing, but he did the same thing. He fell for a hard count again, like 2 weeks in a row. So a couple little rookie errors there, but overall, B plus, A minus.
I seen he came out of Illinois.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, we're actually a little more stout on the D line than people I think realize. Like, yeah, we traded away Tez and Chase, so people thought we like emptied the cupboard. And like John Allen, I don't know if people realize this, but Jonathan Allen suffered a season-ending injury like 4 weeks ago. So the D line you're seeing, and have they not been great still? That's without Jonathan Allen, who wasn't playing like as great as he had been. He is getting a little older too, but I mean that's without Allen. So it's been, again, I don't want to take an edge in the second round. That's how it's been that decent.
So if you don't mind, then since we kind of got our little drafts, what our draft wants and needs kind of through, you want to talk about some basketball?
I do actually. Obviously, this episode will run a little longer than the usual, but I do want to talk some hoop because we didn't get a chance to at all last episode. First things first, let's talk about the Hornets, man. Because you're just going, look, nah, you're just, because you're going through it. Look, I'm not going through it anymore, okay? I feel bad. You're going through it. So
I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but there was a stat that showed the top 3 teams having the most games through injuries. The Grizzlies were number one with like damn near 1,000 missed games.
Yeah.
Like because like players missing game, like
Yeah, no,
starters,
yeah,
bench players, and whatnot.
combined,
And
yeah.
we were third with like almost like 700 games. That sucks, right? You're not gonna win anything with that, and mostly it's because outside of the Miles domestic dispute, LaMelo Ball can't stay healthy. Like right now, he's out with a calf. I think his calf's out, and the
This is about
wrist
to be a
injury.
crazy statement, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The balls just cannot stay healthy, unfortunately. The balls are fragile.
Leangelo can, but they just don't
Does he
want him.
count?
Yeah, he played. He played with us.
Yeah, but
I liked him. He was a
so
decent
did
two-way player.
so did I. I actually
But
just saw his interview with Lonzo the other day. But Lonzo and LaMelo have just they've both had their issues. They just can't, unfortunately. And I like both of them actually.
like you see, lately you saw Lamelo 50-point game, 44-point game to follow
Nah,
that,
that step back three was insane.
and he's going crazy. Like his shot is effortless. Like he's not even jumping for his three ball at this point. But what's the point of scoring all those points? One game if you can't stay healthy for a whole month. That's kind of like just how hard it is to be a Hornets fan. For me, even like to even be a Lamelo Ball fan. That's why I've been kind of more on a train of like let's build around Brandon Miller. We just lost to the Clippers, but he
Not a
just put
bad
up
deal.
34 against Paul George.
Ooh,
It's like
excuse me.
34, like 6, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, which I wish he would pass more, but that's not his role. He's not a point guard. I get it, but it's tough being a Hornets fan, man. Like we just can't stay healthy. Grant Williams is out with a torn ACL. Uh,
Are you at the point yet where you're like, you know what? Maybe we should trade him,
Trade who?
LaMelo.
Yes, I have been way at that point since last season. When I saw how Brandon Miller played last year, because he's not really getting hurt like that or taking a lot of rest. He's been playing like pretty good. Like obviously, you have Wembanyama as rookie of the year. You can't. He's pretty. He was never going to win that because of him. But if Wembanyama wasn't in that draft with him, he would have won rookie of the year easily. Like he's just that good of a player. Our players, they play better around him. The floor feels like it's more managed around Brandon Miller, but and then also we have V at the point guard backing up, and I can't pronounce his first name obviously, but he's doing pretty well. It's like,
You guys
but
still don't have a big, right?
no, because Mark Williams can't stay healthy for the life of him. We had Nick Richards, I think, was our big,
Taj Gibson
and
isn't actually playing, right?
he is not playing.
Okay.
I don't even know what he does on that team anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But outside of him, it's we had to what's his name? Tijane Saloon. But he's a
Yeah, I'm
power
looking at him
forward.
now. Yeah, 6'8" too. He's a smaller forward.
So it's kind of we kind of don't have like a big man.
You
I
ran it.
mean,
It's kind of the same problem we have.
like Josh Green is like I think our big man. And he's not even big. But he's like the only person that we have outside of Mark Williams and Nick Richards when they're not, you know, not injured.
We talked about this a lot on in the DMs on Twitter. Um, it's so hard, man, and that's why I feel bad for you guys and a lot of people, but who wants to play in Charlotte?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with Charlotte. Like, I'm not like hating on you on the city. Not like you, obviously. You don't. Nothing wrong with that place. But in terms of like an athlete, a celebrity, somebody that wants endorsement deals, brand sponsors, who's like, man, can't wait to go to Indiana. Can't wait to go to Charlotte. Can't wait to go to Detroit. Like, it's so hard for small market teams. It really is, because you're not pulling in the free agents. So you have to nail those draft picks. And I was really hoping that LaMelo would be a guy that some other players would want to play with, and that's what you need. You need to get that Victor. You need to get that Wemby. The Spurs are a bigger market. They're not necessarily in the Detroit, Indiana, Charlotte category, even Milwaukee before Giannis. Um, but when you get somebody, when you get that player, that's somebody that guys will play for. So it's like, yeah, I'll go play. Yeah, it's Charlotte, but I'll go play with that guy.
What makes the Spurs even better though is like they have a way better developmental team.
Oh,
I've been
oh,
saying I've been
100%.
saying it for years. Like our
Pop is the
what
GOAT.
sets
Well, one
what
of at
sets us
least.
back what sets us back is our developmental team. Like our players cannot develop. Like back when we had Malik Monk, I was a big Malik Monk fan when we as soon as we drafted him and Dwayne Bacon. I fucked with Dwayne Bacon. I
I
messed
thought
with Dwayne
Malik
Bacon
Monk was
heavy,
going to be better than he was.
but our our developmental like squad just wasn't like up to par. You know what I mean? Especially with like the whole Michael Jordan playing all players 1v1 and him coming out saying, "I beat all of them." That's not good. That's not development. That's the exact opposite. But now you see
It's
Malik
making
Monk
him
on this.
feel bad.
But now you see Malik Monk on the Kings. He's progressed to be a better player. Dwayne Bacon, I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. I actually don't even think he's in the league. But it just goes to show, like, if you go to like a Charlotte team, like we're not going to be good. We're not going to be who people want to go play for, even with Lamelo Ball. But Lamelo being injured more than 50% of the year doesn't help that case either. That's why I'm trying to
It's
be
so
like,
unfortunate because if he could stay healthy and you guys could get a true threat at center, the Hornets could be nasty because you can't clog the paint when you got LaMelo and Brandon Miller on the perimeter.
so during
And
the draft a couple years
if
ago.
they're hot, people are gonna be worried about that perimeter, and your big man's gonna be feasting down low.
So the big man is the hardest part to deal with. I wanted Jared Allen free agency
That would have been
when
great.
all those
I
free agents
wanted you
were
guys
going
to
off,
get him, yeah.
but we had a sell for Gordon Hayward. No one nearly close, and then overpaid way too much for him to begin with.
You guys
Uh,
like Chandler Parsons that situation. That was your Chandler Parsons, unfortunately.
and then
Although Hayward was a little more effective.
yeah, and then 2 years ago we had the 12th pick, I think, or something. We had a low pick, or not. I guess not low, but like a mid pick. And I was like, if we can get Jalen Duren, that would set us up tremendously.
Yeah, I know
But we
you
trade,
really yeah.
but we trade our pick to the Detroit Pistons, who get Jalen Duren,
I
and
remember
we
you were
still get Mark
upset.
Williams. I'm like, we didn't even have to make the trade for that. We could have just took Mark Williams at that point. Like it was very stupid in my opinion. I like Mark Williams, don't get me wrong, but past few years he's been having like back issues, and that's
What did you guys get out of that trade? You had to have gotten something out of it. You got
it
an
was really
extra
just like
pick or something.
maybe like in the late round, but I don't think we. Think,
I mean,
let me look this up.
it's not a bad trade. Man, you can tell I'm getting old. These are the tired yawns.
Getting tired.
I mean, I'm good. I could stay up until 3 a.m. if I needed to, but yeah, this is usually my start to wind down time for my 5 a.m. wake ups. But um, it, in my opinion, if although I think they should have taken Jalen. Um, if you know that the team that's trying to get up is taking a guy you don't want and you're only going one back, that's a smart trade. I mean, even if there's wasn't Nikola Jokic a second round pick? Wasn't he drafted
Yeah.
during a Taco Bell commercial? So yeah, you're not going to get a Jokic. That's a once in a blue. That's a lottery ticket right there. But there's still some decent players you can get that slip. Like the Knicks have found a couple of late first, second round guys. So I like that move. I mean, I don't like that you didn't take the right player necessarily. I don't want to say the right player, but potentially not the right player. But I like, hey, they're not taking our guys, so yeah, let's get an extra little pick out of them real quick. I don't think that's bad.
So that's actually funny because includes the Knicks. We traded Jalen Duren to the Knicks, who then traded him to Detroit.
Which was weird because we actually could have used him too.
because that was part of the Kimball Walker to the Pistons trade,
That's how we got rid of Kemba.
and then we ended up picking Mark Williams with the 15th pick, and then I guess somewhere during that trade we got Bryce McGowan's from which is like the 40th pick in exchange for Josh Minot. So I mean, all in all, like
I mean,
I
it's a
mean
good trade for
those
you
no,
guys.
I mean
Just
those
didn't
two were
take the
pretty
right
much
player.
nobodies. It's just the only reason we even had to, I guess we even made the trade was because of the Kimball Walker's deal. But you guys had Kimball at that point, so
We were
like I
just
said,
trying to get
I
that
don't know
off
what
the
goes on with that front
books.
office, but we just need to. I've been saying it. We need to purge the front office. We need new people in there. Like we have a new coach. I think he's doing fine. What he has, it's just everyone's getting hurt again. It's just another one of those seasons. We can't escape it. Availability is the best ability, and we suck at that. Like the Wizards, Pistons, they just suck, right?
How
We
old
suck
is
because we can't
LaMelo?
stay healthy. I think he's like 23, 24.
He is.
Yes, 23.
Yep, 23. Ah, man. It's so hard. Because I don't want to be a hypocrite right now. Part of me wants to say you guys need to make like some type of play for a legit big and run it back. Like honestly, Rudy Gobert might be an option. Although
So when you
from
guys
what
had
I
Cat,
what
this will be a perfect segue. But when you guys got Cat, I was like I could take a Cat
that would have been
Carl Anthony Towns.
sick. That would have
I
been
could take a
sick.
Russell. I'll take a Russell Westbrook. He's on a lot latter end of his career, but like he'll improve our team. You know, he's not a big, but like obviously it'd just be nice to have like a big name like Russell Westbrook to even be at Charlotte, and just to have some type of improvement for our team
And
other
I
than
get
just
what you're saying.
playing that bench.
So the hypocrisy part that I'm trying to avoid is I'm very much a if a guy shows you that he's injury prone, not much is gonna change. Um, so it's hard because, like I said, man, a true big, a true dominant big down there with Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, that is, I think that's a playoff team, not a play-in team, if healthy.
Definitely, definitely. I like Michik. Michik as a point guard, he's very good. Tijane, however you pronounce his name, he's French, so it's
Yeah,
I can't get that going, but he's definitely a good prospect for us, and I think we have like pieces. It's just kind of like we kind of need just bigger names.
yeah. No, like we said, that's the hard part with the small market.
Speaking of bigger names,
So I mean, the
you
cat's
want to
out of
talk?
the bag, but and I guess I didn't say anything earlier. I am a Knicks fan, so that's why I'm no longer in the. I'm not in the trenches anymore. Although, let me tell you something. From like 2012, 13, no, it was like 13, 14, 14, 15 to like the last two seasons, the Knicks were one of the most losing teams in the NBA. Simultaneously, the Commanders were one of the more losing teams in the NFL. I was in the trenches. I've risen. I've risen from the ashes. A new man. No. So yeah, the Knicks have me feeling better as of late. So it is an interesting scenario being a DC guy and being a Knicks fan. Um, quick story time. I was a Carmelo Anthony fan. No one in my family really watched hoop, at least not NBA. And I was just over the fam one night, nothing to do. I was a little kid. I turned the TV on and I saw, Western Conference Finals. So I was like, well, this must be an important basketball game. And I watched it. It was Nuggets Lakers, Kobe Mello. And I was like, I like this Carmelo Anthony guy. I like him a lot. So became a massive Mello fan, traded to the Knicks. I was getting older, more into the high school era when that happened. So I was really like, I was full into hoop. So I just started to grow. I grew attached to the Knicks roster. So even though Melo eventually shipped him, got shipped out, I followed him. But I was locked in. I was a Knicks fan. I went through some of the worst seasons of basketball you've ever seen. Ron Baker seasons, things like that. Shout out to Ron Baker though, man. Knicks fans, we love that guy. Uh, but we are here. So I am not a bandwagon fan. I did not become a Knicks fan 2 seasons ago. I was in the trenches. Damn it.
I told you
Um,
when you guys got Jalen Brunson, that'd be a great acquisition.
so speaking of acquisitions, I was not so I lost my mind when I saw that the Knicks acquired Karl Anthony Towns until I saw who was going out. When I first saw it break, I was like, okay, they sent out Mitch Robinson, and that sucks because I love Mitch Robinson. That's my guy. They sent out Mitch. They probably sent out Deuce. Maybe they sent out Dante. I was like, but it couldn't be more than that. It's got to be like Mitch Deuce, maybe Mitch Dante, and a bunch of picks, right? No, it was Julius and Dante. And I was like, oh no.
And wasn't there like a couple picks too with it?
Um, I don't remember. I don't think so, actually. I don't think
Because I don't
so.
think it was just like a straight up 2 for 1.
You could double check on that. I don't think we sent out anything really like crucial outside of this player swap. Because really, what it was for the Timberwolves is, from what I'm understanding from Timberwolves fans, is that their owners are cheap and they didn't want to pay that luxury tax. So they
Um,
decided someone had to go. And obviously, it wasn't going to be Ant Man.
ha ha. Guess what? The Hornets were involved in this stupid trade. Uh,
Why do we love each other? We can. I would say we could send you guys a big, but we don't have him anymore.
you sent us Charlie Brown, Daquan Jeffries, Dwayne Washington Jr., 2 future second round picks,
We needed to
and then
dump that cat. That was salary dump.
a cash consideration and a 2025 second round from the Wolves. And you guys gave up future first round to the Wolves,
Okay, we did give up. Okay.
Keita Bates, DiVincenzo, and Julius Randle.
So
But you guys got James and Najee from us though from the draft. So
Julius Randle's was always a very hot topic in on Nick's Twitter. Um, I love Julius Randle. Sometimes players just work in certain places, and he worked here. He had his issues, but he worked here, and he was a lot of what made us tick. Even with Brunson, like yeah, Brunson came in year one for him and kind of made it his team. But a lot of people don't give Julius Randle any credit for was, can you imagine that though, for a guy that people think is like a diva or only about himself? First off, that's not true. Julius Randle's a great teammate. I don't know, maybe Wolves fans aren't feeling him, but by all
they're
accounts,
falling apart. The
by
team's
all
getting sicker.
accounts, Julius Randle is a great teammate. Just like a guy that people actually like. Like you'll hang out with Julius Randle. You're not just teammates. You know what I mean? Um, at least from like the interactions and photographs and things we saw. But it was he came here when the Knicks had won like 18 games, and he struggled through a bad season. But he really was the guy that he had his breakout in his career. But he also helped turn the Knicks around. It was his team when Julius Randle, when Jalen Brunson signed, it was Julius Randle's team, and we made the playoffs. We weren't just a bummy team. He let Jalen Brunson come in and have his team in New York City, Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. And he really didn't complain. His production really didn't drop off. He just kind of let Jalen come in, and you're the captain now. Now, of course, Julius Randle's still ball dominant at times and still had his moments where he's like, I want to take over right now. But just in terms of just the ego not being there, just I don't think he got any credit for that. And that's some guys don't handle that very well. And some guys just straight up don't do it. And you have to trade them. They didn't have to trade Julius Randle. They thought that made the team better, but it wasn't a situation of, oh, Julius is upset, he doesn't want to be here. No, they just wanted Karl Anthony Towns instead.
Yeah, that was a big blockbuster trade. It definitely sucked though because Randall got hurt, he wasn't around for the playoffs to make much of an impact, and then you guys pretty much were injury riddled by the time you got to the Pacers.
Yeah, that I don't even want to talk about that playoff run because I truly believe that was our finals run. Like if we had stayed healthy, I mean, we were at least going to the Eastern Conference Finals, at
Yeah.
least. But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to talk about that anymore. But no, um,
What's a playoff?
it damn, it it was I was right and I was wrong. So it's tricky. We sent out a lot for Karl Anthony Towns. We sent out a 25 and 10 guy plus Dante, and neither of them have been playing how they were in New York. But at the end of the day, were we not potentially a championship team last year, guys? Were we not second in the East or top 4 in the Eastern Conference? I don't know why I said second. That was a good basketball team. And Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle were part of it. You sent out a 25 and 10 guy, and then I forget exactly what Dante was averaging, but you probably sent out something like 30 points per game off your team for Karl
I think it
Anthony
was definitely
Towns.
upwards like 15, 18 a game.
Yeah, it was. So, like I said, they sent out probably more like 40 points per night off their roster. And what's crazy is that the Knicks scored more now. But we also lost Hartenstein, so our offensive rebounding is gone. Mitchell Robinson hasn't played this season. He's been injured. And he's also, if it ain't, here's why the Knicks were so freaking good last year. They potentially had the 2 best offensive rebounders in the league. Like Isaiah Hartenstein is up there, but Mitchell Robinson might actually be like number 1. If he ain't number 1, he's number 2 without a doubt. So if the Knicks missed, there was a very good chance they were getting another shot at the basket. So we've had none of that this season. Hartenstein's over there doing his thing for OKC, and Mitch is injured because of Joel Embiid. So we haven't gotten those second opportunities as much, and our defense has taken a big old um and that's why we're 13 and 8, because obviously we have the offensive firepower to be a lot better than that. A lot of Knicks fans are not happy with Mikal Bridges. I don't think it's fair. Couple reasons. One, Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson combined for 50 points a night. They're both at 25. OG Anunoby signed a $200 million deal, and he has shown that his jumper isn't just role player jumper. Like, dude is a bucket, and if you feed him, good things happen. Bridges was the guy in Brooklyn, and that's what fans want. He's not the guy here. He's not the second guy here. He's arguably not the third guy here. That would be OG Anunoby. So he's at
Is he even the fourth
best.
guy? Because Josh Hart.
No, he's four. He's four over Josh. Josh is just the glue guy. Josh is just the best glue guy in the NBA that does everything. I'm in terms of like scoring, offensive, like the game going through you. On a good night, he's third, but more than likely not. If they're all on the court, he's not getting priority over Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby in that order, and he's still averaging 16, and he's still playing good defense. So I don't know why Knicks fans are kind of taking a big poo-poo on Mikal Bridges.
I think it's because of how much you guys gave up.
It is, I get it. But to be fair, at the time, I'm going to assume they didn't know Karl Anthony Towns was an option at the time. Because if they were, I'm not going to say they wouldn't have made that trade. Because I'm going to give you 2 reasons why I think they still might have done it.
Probably wouldn't have paid that much.
But bingo. They might not have been willing to give up that much necessarily. So I still think they make the trade for 2 reasons. One, defense was a problem last year. And he is a good defender. Above average. He's had seasons where people were like, this guy is an elite defender. So he's absolutely needed on that end. So the Knicks, I think, still make that trade just off that alone. Is there a better, like, if his shot's hitting, is there a better 3-and-D player in the league? No. And the thing with Mikal Bridges is he showed you as the face of a franchise, yeah, you're not going to win a championship. You're not going to win a ton of games. But the guy is more than just a 3-point shooter. He's the whole package. He actually has a very, very, I don't know if people realize this or not, like hoop fans do. he has an elite like Euro package. Like his layup Euro game is actually insane. He just doesn't utilize it enough. So he's a 3-level scorer. He's inside and out. He's everything. I think that if you had looked at my tweets way back yonder, it was before I honestly didn't think the Knicks could trade for Bridges. I was like, there's no way the Nets are sending him to the Knicks. There's no way. But there was a point in time where I said he was the perfect player for this team. Exactly what we needed. But that was last year's Knicks. Literally last year's Knicks with Mikal Bridges on it. A couple guys would have had to go out, obviously. So maybe no Deuce, whatever. Which is huge because Deuce McBride's a great player off the bench. Arguably more than just an off the bench guy, but our starting five is too potent. But yeah, I think people need to ease up on Mikal because I think if you take OG Anunoby off this team, Mikal Bridges is averaging 20 points a game easily averaging because OG Anunoby averages 17. So here's the Knicks points per game score is Jalen Brunson 25.2, Karl Towns 25.1, OG Anunoby 17.4, and then Bridges 16.4. Remove OG Anunoby, I promise you Mikal Bridges is at 20 this year. So people need to leave him alone because he's not the problem. The problem is that collectively we don't play a lick of freaking defense. And that needs to change. And we're still a top 5 team, arguably, in the NBA. So
that's kind of like that double-edged sword. It's like you don't have no defense, but like Cats like points, assists, rebounds combos are like hitting the overs 90% of the time.
Cat is having a career year. He is. Not like nothing is like it's nothing he's never done before, but it's everything is at like his career highs as well as like his efficiency. So he's still shooting 45% from 3. It was at 50%, so it went down, but that's insane. I mean, we can kind of look real quick. So the most points Karl Towns has ever scored in a season is 26.5. He hit 25 his second year, 26 in that 2019-20 season. He's never hit 25 since. So this will be his third time at 25. So that's pretty much right around career high. Rebounding, he actually is at a career high. Right now, he's at 13 boards a game. The most he's ever been at is 12.4. However, he did 12-3, 12-3, and 12-4 3 seasons in a row. The blocks are down compared to... He blocked a lot more shots earlier in his career. But the percentages are all up. 3-point is a career high. His field goal percentage is tied. Nope. Right under his career high. He was at 54% his first 3 years, but then he started shooting more threes, so that it kind of explains that. So yeah, pretty much a career year for Towns. Couldn't be happier with him.
So in a way, like, would you say you're better off with the trade then, or would you say like it's just kind of more so bittersweet?
It's tough. As of right now, through about 20 games, it's 20 on the money for the T-Wolves, but they play tonight, don't they? Yeah, they play at 10:30. So after tonight, both teams will have played 21 games this season. I think the Timberwolves are worse. I think the Knicks are...
You think they're kind of just like flatline still? Like kind of about the same?
They're either the same or worse. It's so tough. Because, so, I'm going to change my mind. They're better, but I don't think it's a whole lot right now. So the reason why I changed my mind, Isaiah Hartenstein, that's a big loss. Like I said, he might not have been scoring 25 points per game and grabbing 13 boards, but there's a lot of things he did that, look.
He wasn't a part of that trade, though. That was like a whole, like,
No, he walked in free agency, yeah. It's not just the fact that he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. He has he's Joakim Noah, Nikola Jokic with the playmaking, the vision, the passing. He's one of those big men. Dude can wheel and deal. He makes passes that guards make. He does everything right. His defense is his only issue. He's not the best defender. He'll get cooked, but not like consistently. He'll lock up, but there's times where he's going to get cooked. You don't want him on the perimeter either because he's going to get cooked there. But he's a very underrated guy. I'm going to put it that way. I heard that coming from the Clippers, and I completely understand it. So that is a big loss that if you're not a big hoop guy, you don't realize it. So Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo on this same team, sans Isaiah Hartenstein, they're probably about the same 13-8 or worse. It's so hard because they still would have had Mikal Bridges. So we would have been better defensively.
Right. But who's to say you're scoring just as many points?
No, exactly. But again, we don't need to score 135 points if we're not giving up 135 points. The Knicks were also still a top 10 offense last year, by the way. Yeah. So basically, we moved up from top 10 to top 3 offenses. And honestly, we were closer to top 5 last year. So we might have moved up 2 or 3 offensive spots, but we dropped on the defensive end. We dropped in the rebounding categories. Mitch coming back is going to be huge. Mitch is not only one of the best offensive rebounders in the league, but he's possibly the best defensive center in the league. If not, again, he is up there. I know Rudy Gobert keeps winning those awards, but I implore people to put on Mitchell Robinson tape.
I still think Wemby should have got that award last year.
I wouldn't have been mad at that at all, but they weren't going to give it to a rookie. What are we at? 'Cause I know we going long. We're at an hour and a half.
I think we're about ready to.
Yeah, we'll start. Let's wind this thing down here. I hate to say it, but this might be. Some people are like, "Hey, this was one of those win-win situation trades." This might be a lose-lose. The only person that is winning this trade, like without a doubt, they are a winner, is Karl-Anthony Towns.
I think DiVincenzo's about to be out the door in the Wolves.
That didn't go well.
His position's not a. He wants to be a starter.
Oh, and that's supposedly that's why he wanted out of the Knicks. Supposedly the Mikal Bridges trade soured him. Not that he didn't want necessarily. Not that I don't think he has an issue with Mikal Bridges, but obviously when we made that trade, we sent out 5 first-rounders. I think that's the spot he wanted, and he obviously realized that he ain't getting it over Mikal. So I think it's the same situation happening with him there, but I think he needs to realize that he's not a starter. He is a 6th man and a very, very good one. From what I understand from the social media fans, which take it with a grain of salt, but the Julius Randle experiment's not going well in Minnesota, and that's unfortunate. As I said, I love Julius Randle, but a lot of his issues in New York, his tendency to take defensive plays off because he exerts all of his energy on the offensive side. And his rebounding numbers are down because now he's playing against next to Rudy Gobert. So it was one of those things to where, like I said, right now the only definitive winner is Karl-Anthony Towns. Everyone else is kind of up in the air. Julius Randle's a loser in terms of just not the same player he was in New York. Because like I said, some guys just work where they were, how they were. And Dante DiVincenzo is way, way down. So, man.
Maybe send him to a small market team like the Hornets. Get their career back on track.
That'd be clutch. So I'll end it on this. They say defense wins championships. We'll see. The Knicks are going to be a top team in the East without a doubt. So the question becomes, once you hit the playoffs, you run into a Boston, you run into a dynasty Golden State, you run into prime LeBron James. How much defense can you really put up against those guys, right? You know what I'm saying? But if you can also if you can score with them, you might be onto something. So I say just let us get to the playoffs and let's see what happens. Because, yeah, you're going to score on us, but you're going to have to outscore us. And we all know that it's an unfortunate issue with the NBA, but I understand it, and I'm not even complaining or asking for a change necessarily. But let's keep it a buck. Guys don't give a damn about the regular season. Not until the last like month when things really start to matter. Especially if you know you're if the Knicks don't give a damn. I'm not saying we don't, but you know what I mean. Like when you're this good, you know you're a playoff team. You know you're gonna win games. So you really just get down to the last month and you're like, okay, what seed do we need? Where are we at? Let's lock in. And then you got the teams that are fighting for the playoffs. So we'll see. We gotta wait. I wanted to revisit it. We're about a quarter of the way through the season, so this is fun. Maybe we'll talk about it again at the halfway mark and just keep it going, 3-quarter end season. But in terms of the Knicks, we'll see. We hit those playoffs, and we'll see who can outscore us. That's kind of how I'm feeling because I don't think magically defense is going to start cranking for us. How would you like to wrap up? What you got for us?
Uh, uh, just by saying like this is a weekly thing. It's just the past 2 weeks we've had life, life
Yeah,
happening, and then last week was like with Thanksgiving and everything. It's kind of a given at that point. So, but other than that, we should be back for next week.
absolutely.
That's how I have it slated. Definitely the next few weeks. I don't know when Christmas is. I don't know if
Tuesday.
it
It's on a
falls.
Tuesday,
Okay,
I
so
believe.
so the after should be fine then. Okay.
Yeah, we shoot for Wednesday nights. It is obviously the night before Thursday night football, although we didn't get to talk about Thursday night football. We were going to, but once I realized we were already like 48 minutes deep in the NFL talk, we kind of had to push it along. But that is why we chose. I don't know if we mentioned this, but that is why we chose Wednesday nights. So it is the day before Thursday night football, which is the first game of the new week, and obviously Monday night football is concluded, which is the final game of the week. So yes, Wednesday nights is our sessions.
I'll give you a quick score update. It's gonna be Packers Lions. Lions are gonna win.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Lions.
34,
Yeah.
34-30.
Who are they playing? The Packers.
Yep, division game.
Jordan Love's not hurt, right? No.
Nope, nope, he's healthy.
Thirty-eight,
Josh,
thirty-three. Detroit.
I think Josh Jacobs would get two
Shootout.
tutties, but
38-33. That's what I'm saying.
that
Shootout,
should
baby.
that should be this episode.
All right. Thank you, Vic, for your time. I appreciate it. We will see you next week. And thank you to anybody checking us out. And we will see you guys next week.